In this next segment, I will be demonstrating the flexible use of ACT. As noted earlier, you can use the 6 core components separately in a protocol-based approach, or you can use them interchangeably. As you begin to learn acceptance and commitment therapy, you will find that you can use these core components more interchangeably. That's the goal of presenting this next segment, is to help you see how these core components can come together in a single demonstration or a single session. So in this segment, I'll be working with Mark. This is a veteran in his mid-40s who is employed by the government and has comorbid depression and anxiety. He has been seen by the VA for the past 20 years following a medical discharge from the military service. Hi, Mark. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Things been going okay this last week?
Yeah, I mean, basically okay. Basically okay. I've been, a couple of times at work, I had some, supervisor and pissed me off, and found myself like getting kind of on edge and stuff like that. But basically, trying to control it,
Okay.
kind of,
How's the control working for you?
Well, the problem is that I just remain angry, and I don't, I'm not able to let that go. I just get angry and I stay that way at that level the whole day, it's just like,
So you had a couple things happen at work.
Yeah, a couple of incidents at work last week,
All right.
with the supervisor and one of the guys, down at the dock, and, so.
You seem slightly agitated now. Is the anger still with you?
Yeah, I'm still feeling it, I'm still feeling it. Kind of pisses, it just pisses me off,
And what have you been doing this week? I know you and I talked a lot about how you try to control anger. What have you been doing this week to control anger?
Well, basically, I just, whatever I've been doing hasn't really been working, let's put it that way.
Yeah, because here you are.
Here I am,
saying
the
I'm
same
this
old thing,
irritated. It's,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna try to tell myself it's, it's not me, it's not them, try to remain above it, but you get into that position and it just, things start to fly off the handle and I just start to feel like I'm losing control,
So there's this funny paradox here that you're describing, is that anger shows up, and then you try to get above it, rise above, kind of stay out of it a bit,
Right?
but then you fly off the handle. It's almost like you're losing control.
Yeah,
So the very strategy to try and keep it together seems like it's almost pumping up the energy.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So where would you say it's at right now, even as you're talking about it?
Well, I mean, I'm here, I'm not, I don't feel like I'm like 50%, 60%, where I feel like I have control over it, but it's still, it still bothers me and it's been a few days, it's
Okay.
been like, a few days since it happened. And I, continually think about it, so.
And so anger has been one of the key things that we've been working on across our time together. And it pops up at work and it pops up at home and it just stays with you for days at a time.
Right.
Right. If, when you're feeling that anger, like even in the moment here where you're feeling it, where do you notice it most in your body?
Like right here,
Okay.
like in my chest.
What do you notice there?
And it's just like it's tight, and I just, it's, breathing is a little more difficult, that kind of thing.
Okay. And even as I watch you, you seem a little more animated, a little more agitated in your movements.
Right, because, I'm not relaxed.
Okay, that's fair, that's fair. So let's imagine that with this tightness right here, that I could reach inside and pull it out, like I had the ability to remove your anger and set it before us. What image would you give this anger? If you could give it an image, what would it look like?
It would be like, just like this sort of like cactus, white cactus, sort of like energy, sort of like tight, but sharp. kind of
Okay.
thing, you know.
So white cactus,
Yeah,
tight,
it's kinda like-
sharp,
yeah.
and you give me the impression that it's even moving a little.
It is, yeah, it's got its own, you know, its own energy.
Okay. And so here it is sitting before us. Right here, we've set it out. And when you see this tight cactus moving in and out, this energy, what's your first reaction to it?
When I calm it down,
You want to calm it down.
yeah.
What do you want to do with the anger? Like,
I
what
want to
would
soothe
you?
it.
Okay, all right. And I wonder if that soothing kind of looks like the rising above in some way? Like taking the higher road that you
Yeah,
talked about
if I-
earlier?
If I had control over it, you know, to just
Mm-hmm.
be able to wrap it up and just, you know, calm it down.
So it seems like
So
the
it
thing.
wasn't out there, it was just, you know, I just was able to control it.
Okay, okay. So the deal is I need to package it in some way or squish it or tighten it or,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
But based on what you said, it actually like gets bigger or it lasts longer.
right,
So hey, the cactus hangs around.
right.
So with this, I want to rise above, like your mind saying, what I just need to do here is rise above this, trying to convince you not to feel the
Right.
anger. Doesn't seem to be working.
No, not really.
Well, and what I mean by working is working in the sense of what you want to see happen in your life. Like, where does anger get in your way? Where does it cost you? Like when this cactus shows up, what losses do you experience in your effort to control?
Well, I mean, it just, you know, it affects my whole working relationship, it makes everything unpleasant, you know? It makes the whole day, you know, just, you know, all my relationships with all my, you know, and even when I go home, you know?
Okay.
You know, but it just cost me at work, it cost me, you know, who knows what it's costing me. I mean, you know, not in money, but just, you know, and just, you know, enjoyment, you know?
Okay. So you lose enjoyment?
Yeah.
And is that enjoyment, you tell me, because I don't want to speak for you, but does
Okay.
the enjoyment show up in relating with others, but stepping back and trying to keep the cactus at bay keeps you from relating with others?
Yeah, yeah,
Or maybe you relate with others in ways that has an edge to it, so
Yeah.
it pushes them away?
yeah, you know, you want to, you know, you want to step back and just remain you know, you don't want to get too close because you don't want to, you know, you don't want to get that anger thing going, or you don't want to have this, you know, relationships where someone could say something and really, you know, tick you off, you know, so you just do your job and just stay back and just, you know, just every day it's kind of the same thing. You just go to work and just do your job and come home, you know,
Right.
not
So-
try to interact, you know. so you
Like,
don't
here's
wanna
your
do-
mind, like, keep a stiff upper lip. I can almost hear that in there. Just do your job, get through
Yeah,
the day.
exactly.
You know, and yet here's this little burny,
Right.
energy-filled cactus, right?
Right,
So the reaction that you had to it is, I just want to control it. I just want to tamp it down in some way. What feeling comes along with that?
it's kind of like you know, it's kind of like a powerlessness, like a feeling that I can't, you know, that I don't have any control over it, really. You
And
know?
where do you feel the powerlessness in your body? Most, where do you experience it most?
It's more like, you know, sort of like, it's sort of like in my head, really, you know,
Okay.
where I just
So
thoughts.
if I could
of,
reach
you
that
know,
out, right? If I could reach in and pull that out, and we could set it out here, powerlessness, and give it an image, what image would it take?
Something like, you know, Jello or something like that.
Okay.
It doesn't have any form and it doesn't
It's
have
kind of
any,
this-
it's amorphic, you know, it just doesn't,
Does it have a color?
it's not really a color so much as just a feeling of there's like nothing there, you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like shapeless,
Okay.
you know?
So shapeless.
Yeah, and it doesn't have any energy of its own. It's only the opposite of the anger in a sense, you know?
Okay, so does the anger has power in it, and the opposite of that is the powerlessness.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this shapeless form.
Yeah,
And when you imagine this shapeless form out here, when you see that, what's your first response to that?
well, I hate it, you know?
Okay.
I hate it because it doesn't have any power.
No power.
Yeah.
And even as you say it, like I can hear your voice go down a little bit. Your voice is getting a little, I hate this thing, this no power.
Yeah.
So the anger is out there to prevent the powerlessness.
No, I mean, you could look at it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one way of looking at it, I guess.
And if I could peel, like if I could even look deeper and see, is there anything behind feeling powerless? Like if I could kind of push that aside too. Is there any other feeling underneath powerlessness?
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that I'm no damn good.
So it just kind of boils down
I
to
mean,
this,
that's what it boils down to. I'm
Okay.
just no damn good.
no damn good.
It's just
And is there a
kind
feeling that comes along with no damn good?
yeah, kind of ashamed, just,
And where do you
just
feel?
you just feel bad in your heart, kind of,
Okay. All right. So there's something that I'm going to ask you to do here with this powerlessness, the anger in the shape of the cactus, and this feeling that you have in your heart. Like if you were to imagine someone standing before you with these issues in the balance with them, and when you get through kind of the cactus and the shapeless form, you kind of get to this place where you see somebody before you who has pain in their heart, who feels no damn good. What's your first response to that person?
well, you want to comfort them. That's not what I do to myself.
Yeah. Right,
Yeah.
right. If you were going to comfort somebody, what action would you take?
Just tell them everything's okay, and put your arm, just pat them, tell them everything's okay, and
Right.
not to, to relax, not to worry so much you're okay, and that kind of thing.
So you can kind of feel a place where there's a little bit more giving to that person, a little bit more openness to that person who has that
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
space, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is if from that place where you're feeling like you want to comfort, like you want to, this guy seems that, hey, he's okay. There's nothing wrong with him. He just has a hurt heart, right? From that space, would you be willing to have that guy, to take him back, to have the powerlessness, take that back, to have this cactus, bring it back. It all goes back where it came from. And you hold it lightly from this compassionate place that you've described, and then do what works for you in this situation at work and at home when you're feeling angry. Because we know that trying to control it doesn't work, right?
Right.
So I wonder if we let go and just let it be there, that this stance that you've taken, like in that stance, what would you do in these situations when you get angry?
You mean without, trying to control it, or, if I wasn't
You just
trying
hold
to
it,
control
right?
it?
You just got it with you.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I can imagine it would be a good way to go.
Okay.
I can imagine that, it would make things run smoother, and it wouldn't get so balled up.
Okay. So this is what I'm asking you to do, essentially,
Right,
is to
right.
hold this like you are, but all of it, not just the hurt heart piece.
Right.
Take it all, hold it as if you're holding it from the place of holding the hurt heart.
Right.
Where you have more kindness for it, it feels
Yeah,
like.
right, right.
Gently, and then do what's there to be done. And it might mean something like, rather than pulling back, you step in. So you say, this isn't going to work for me. I'm feeling hurt right now about how this is turning out. Which I know sounds kind of funny, right? Because these are not words you use.
Right.
So you'd have to
Exactly.
find your own words. And you and I can work on that in
Okay.
here, like what words would
Yeah.
work for you, but are coming from that place rather than trying to control the anger place.
Right. All right.
In this last session, we were looking at flexible use of ACT, and multiple components were pulled in to work with the client in loosening up the issue of being stuck in anger. One of the things that we did was used control as the problem. So we focused on what kinds of things are you doing to control anger, and how is it working for you? This leads us into willingness as the alternative to control. We also did a bit of diffusion by asking the client to set the emotion out in front of him, to see, give it a shape, a size, a color, observe it. It gives him a little bit of distance to see it as something that he experiences rather than something that he is. At the same time, we focused on self as context, not only because we were asking him to set the emotion out, but also to hold it, to not run away from any of the different images that he created, but rather to have a compassionate stance towards those images, to carry them with him. We also worked a little bit on values. Here we were talking about how he wants to be in the work setting, and then what kind of actions he could take. These were less clear, but what kind of actions he could take that would be different from the normal action of pulling away. So we got to a place towards the end of the session where we were saying, what would that look like? How would I show up if I were to carry these emotions with me, acknowledge both the anger, the powerlessness, and this tender-hearted place, and still be present in the room? It might mean saying things like, this isn't going to work for me, which would be a different strategy than just pulling back, trying to rise above and shut down. So here we had multiple components: diffusion, willingness, self as context, a little bit of values, and a little bit of committed action.